This video is all about the 3 generations of consciousness technology. In other words, how we think about the technologies that can help us to amplify our executive presence. My name is Brent Michael Phillips. I am an MIT-trained software engineer, turned video game entrepreneur, turned healer and spiritual teacher, turned executive coach. And this is video number 7 of 8 in our series on executive presence, or as I like to call it, Who Wants to Be a Billionaire? And what it comes down to is pretty simple. Executive presence is your secret weapon. And I figured out how to actually cultivate it and massively amplify it. And if you can do this, you're going to run roughshod over your competitors. You will eat them for lunch. And so this video is about what I call the 3 generations of consciousness technology. Now, I want to give you a heads up. If you're super busy, pressed for time, skip this one. This is background so you can understand these different processes and kind of how it works in terms of technology. But if you are really just laser focused on, Brent, tell me what I would need to do to be more present, to amplify my career, to take it to the next level, just skip this one. Video number 8 is a step-by-step action plan to get you from here to there. But for those that like to understand things a little deeper, this is what this video is for. As an example, when I was working as a software engineer, what I found was you cannot be at your best unless you understand the systems you're working with at least one level below where you're operating. So as an example, if you're writing applications, you need to understand how the operating system works. Otherwise, you can't be the best at it. Same thing with management. You can never effectively manage people doing something you know nothing about. So this is to give you just a little bit of depth of knowledge and context to understand when I talk about the technology and Reiki and NLP and hypnosis and what it means. So here we go. Short version. If we look at all the different techniques developed, what we might call self-improvement or personal development, things from meditation to exercise to mind power to energy healing to masterminds to motivational speakers and all this stuff, I see it as existing in 3 different generations. And they have very specific attributes. And so you can look at this and go, hey, let's find the right tool for the job. If you don't understand this, that'll be tough. You'll just have to trust the salespeople. And let's face it, nothing in this world is nearly as good as the people selling it say it is, right? So here's how you know the difference. So 3 generations. First thing, I am an engineer. I am a technologist. I see self-improvement as technology. Now, it's been mixed in with a lot of woo-woo, with a lot of nonsense, a lot of bull. But if you can peel back all the bull, there is technology hiding underneath. And it's pretty simple. We humans have consciousness, don't we? Yes. Learning how to apply your consciousness is enormously important. Not too different than learning how to develop and apply your body, right? You want to be in the modern world, you want to function, have a good life. You need to walk and talk and read and write and eat food and swallow and drive a car and all these things. So this is about how do we use our consciousness? How do we develop it, channel it, strengthen it, apply it? And there's 3 primary ways to do it. First generation is kind of the old school positive thinking, masterminds mindset, right? And I'll talk more about each one. Second generation, we learn to directly access the subconscious. So hypnosis, NLP, Psych-K, awakening the dynamics, things like that. Game changer. The 3rd generation is the rarefied air. Very few things fit the 3rd generation, but that would be non-duality, movement feedback holography, open eye entrainment meditation, things like that. And when you understand the nature of the 3, you can quite simply find the right tool for the job. Because you don't need a F1 supercar to drive to the store, do you? No, it would actually be terrible. Because you'd rip out the suspension if you went over a bump. There's no cargo space, right? There's no trunk. So you don't always want the most advanced technology. So if I'm going to say walk across the street to get a beer, I'm not going to take a space shuttle, right? I'm just going to walk. And so what are the 3 generations? Well, first generation is positive thinking. Nowadays, the law of attraction has kind of been a dirty word because a lot of that law of attraction stuff is nonsense. Of course it is. If you watch The Secret or something, they make you think, oh, gee, poor people starving in Africa, let's just airdrop 50,000 copies of The Secret and they'll all be millionaires, right? A lot of it's nonsense. But there is some truth hiding in there, that having a positive mindset, focusing on what you can do versus what you can't do, finding the right people to work with and support you is useful. So there is some useful aspects to it. The trouble is, for most people, traditional positive thinking, things like Tony Robbins, motivational speakers, Think and Grow Rich, for most people, they may feel good, but they don't move the needle. There was a study done at a university in Canada on the law of attraction, and they found that over 99% of the people who did the traditional law of attraction stuff felt they got few or no results. So 99% failure. So I would say if you like that stuff, go for it. Otherwise, skip it. For the most part, for most people, it doesn't help a lot. Save your money for something else. Now, the second generation is where it gets interesting. The big difference is the first generation is just done with the conscious mind. Thinking, reading, masterminds, vision boards, mantras, things like that. It's not wrong. It just probably won't do what you want, right? It'd be like saying that, gee, if I get a fancy tie, then every girl I ask out will say yes. It's like, yeah, outfit helps, but it's not on its own. It's not going to move the needle, right? It's not going to do what you want. But the second generation is a big step forward. Here's the thing. With the second generation technologies, we can directly access and work with the subconscious. And so this starts to really move the needle, at least on some things. Physical health, absolutely. If you have major physical health issues or even minor ones, a little bit of work with the subconscious can knock them out. Don't believe anything I'm saying just because I said it, but I have seen almost 2,000 legitimate medical miracles with my clients in the 20 years I did energy healing. So this stuff can really work. Emotional stuff, addiction, relationship friction, the subconscious, clearing it can make huge, huge benefits. So some examples: hypnosis, NLP, Psych K, the body code, awakening dynamics, the emotion code, things like that. Many of them use a process to identify a block, often muscle testing, applied kinesiology. Sometimes a biofeedback machine can do it. Then they have a process for clearing the block. The difference is some technologies are simply much more advanced than others. I like the metaphor of imagine an old Ford Model T from like 1917 versus, say, a Porsche 911 Turbo from 2024. They both work on essentially the same technology, right? You got an engine producing power, turns a drive shaft, a transmission. You got wheels and tires, a steed, a steering wheel, right? All that's the same. But the modern car is much faster. It's much safer. It's much more comfortable. It has a much greater range. It's far more reliable. So that's the difference you'll see here. Good news is there's lots of second-gen techs out there to choose from. The bad news is there's a lot of second-gen techs out there to choose from. So find the person you're comfortable with. Use whatever system they teach and practice. If you like my style, check the links in the description. Be happy to learn more about you. If I'm available, I'd love to work with you, make you hugely successful. So the downside of the second generation technology is it's limited to words and language, which allows it to be very fast and very precise in some ways. For example, don't believe this until you've experienced it for yourself. Most allergies I can clear in under 10 minutes. Permanently. Not everything, not everyone, but most of them. Why? You just find the blocks in the subconscious, knock them out with a good technology, done. And if that seems like an incredible claim, imagine talking to a caveman about the space shuttle. They think that was pretty amazing too, right? Of course, it's just relative to context. So the second gen is great for physical health, emotional health, unplugging the pipes that are clogged up, but it cannot increase presence alone. It cannot turn up the flow of consciousness in your life. And so my journey was such that the first generation techs didn't help me at all. It was just a giant waste of time and money. The second generation techs created miracles for me. When I first met Terry back in 2003, my arm was paralyzed. I was in horrible chronic pain. I had migraines. I was on lifetime disability. I was deep in debt. It was a nightmare. By working with her using the second gen techs doing block clearing, I was able to reduce my pain, come off disability, start up my career again, start dating again. So it helped me a lot. But it's crazy. It didn't help me make more money. It got me right back to where I was like 7 years before. So to really move the needle on career success, money, stress, presence, charisma, we need the third generation. Because again, the second generation is great, but it's bound by words and language. To get into the third generation is more about feeling your body, connecting to the space around you, connecting with other people. And so there's not a lot that's out there. I would put just a few things in the third generation. One is the study of non-duality, also called awakening or Advaita Vedanta or Jnana Yoga. That aims us in the right direction in terms of the understanding. It's how we release attachment. It's how we let go of the stresses and the worries and get focused and present. The other piece would be the open eye meditations, Dr. Les Femi's open focus, as well as the beaming or quantum field entrainment meditation I learned from my late mentor, Carl. These are about feeling, not about words and thinking. They can really move the needle in terms of presence, success, attractiveness, charisma. And the last piece would be the movement feedback holography. And so we've already talked about these. The block clearing, the second gen, is how we get the pipes open. The mindset, the paradigm, the awakening is building a bigger pipe. And the embodiment through movement and meditation is how we turn up the flow. And so again, you want to find the right tool for the job. In the last video, number 8 in this series, I'm going to walk you through step by step the process I would use if I were you, wanting to massively increase your executive presence. And we will use some or all of these different technologies. Kind of similar to right now, as I make this video, I'm living in Las Vegas. If I want to go to Tokyo, there's not one technology that takes me there. I can't walk to Tokyo, right? I am also not going to have a jet airliner pull up in my backyard. So if I want to go to Tokyo, there's at least 3 technologies I need to use. Number 1, I walk to my car. Number 2, I drive my car to the airport. Number 3, at the airport, I get on a jet airliner, fly across the ocean, land in Tokyo. Then it reverses. Rent a car, go to your hotel, walk in and check in. Does that make sense? So you need all of them, and you will use all of them. And I want you to be aware enough and educated enough that you can always find the right tool for the job. Make sense? Cool. So this is Brent Michael Phillips signing off. We got one more video left in our series on executive presence, and I hope to see you there soon. Until then, please take care and namaste.